I know a long time ago I made a mention about this, but I don't believe I created the official topic for it. And it's got to do with how it seems like, depending on who you talk to and what that person is going through, some discussions may be lost causes. And it's because I guess they're coping with something, but maybe it's not the best way to cope with it, and it only shows when something forces them to face it. And after I start diving into it, maybe it'll make better sense. But you guys explain to me if this is a mutual sharing of hardship. Like, I tell you what I'm struggling with, you tell me what you're struggling with, and you're not trying to diminish my experience, but it just comes out like that because it's inevitable. Or just what is it about this? And the reason I ask is because I cannot say that that is something I do. Like, I hear whatever the person is saying, and I'm like, I hear you, I feel you, and I'm sorry about that. It stings. I see the challenge, I see the struggle, but I'm never really trying to take something worse to try to crush what you just said. Let me get straight into it. One thing that I can think of is when I talk about my challenges with how I feel physically. I'm going to talk about my physical issues for a little bit. Ever since I was a teen, I have experienced some health shit. I feel like it was never really given that much importance because my pain tolerance is high, but also I have a way of working around those things. I'm not going to just be shut down or crushed just because something physical is hindering me. I'm still gonna show up. I'm still gonna get things done. I'm still going to be functional. I'm still going to be productive, even though I probably shouldn't be. And I probably should be in bed resting or something like that. But I know that is something I cannot afford to do. But an example of a dismissal I have heard is hearing something like, but you're young, and young people can die, young people can lose limbs, young people can get the C word. That's also one of the zodiacs that YouTube doesn't like you to talk about. You also can get hurt, you can get in car accidents, you can lose your sight, your hearing, all those little things. What does you saying I'm young have to do with any of it? I understand that it's not normal for a young person to exhibit certain symptoms based off what we have experienced up to this point about the progression of health conditions and when they begin to present themselves, things like that. But when someone tells me, but you're young, I freaking hate it because I look at it as dismissal. Another thing that I have heard that is related to that is wait until you get older. I definitely heard that a lot from my mom. Like, wait until you reach this age, wait until you have kids, which thank God I don't want and I'm never gonna have. Wait until, give this a chance, give this a chance. Like, you have lived your life significantly differently from mine, and somehow, yeah, just because you have experience at living through it doesn't mean I'm going to invalidate what you are saying. But why is it that it's your immediate response? And it's like, oh, you're telling me that now? Okay, well, just so you know, it gets worse. That's obvious. It's natural that things are bound to get worse. But whatever I'm dealing with at the moment, why can you not interact with that? Perhaps try to be more consoling as opposed to being like, well, just wait until you get to where I'm at. Something like that. Are you really that miserable? That's the way I'm starting to look at it. Another version of that I have heard is, well, you feel, I don't know, sciatic pain, you feel lower back pain, this and that. Try working as a construction worker. Try working as a policeman. Try being a soldier. Try being this, try being that. I'm like, you fucking miserable ass bastard. Again, I am simply talking about me describing my situation. That's why I felt compelled to make that video weeks ago about I don't understand it not being about me, like don't make it about you, something like that. I'm like, well, I'm simply letting you know, since you love to ask the question of how are you doing. Maybe it's disingenuous, it's to fill the air with sound coming from your voice, but I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm going to answer the question. Why is it that when I'm answering the question, the response that you're giving is one that legit serves to invalidate what I'm telling you, as opposed to, well, I'm sorry that you're experiencing sciatic nerve pain. Are you trying anything for it? Have you taken anything for it? Do you have any ideas of what to do about it? Do you have any exercise routine? Do you know where it comes from? You can handle that any number of ways. That's how a normal person interacts. Or maybe what I call normal is what I would react with, which is that example I just provided. I would try to find out more about it, get to know more about you, and perhaps in an effort to fulfill my quest of the point of being alive is to relieve misery. I know what a life in pain is like. So if I hear you saying that, I am going to ask further about it, since you're opening the door to that discussion. I usually don't ask, are you seeing anybody? Because I know I'll never get to see a fucking doctor. I'm not going to assume that everybody can just make it to a doctor. And besides, a doctor at this point, it's like there should be things that you can do before going to the clinic. It's like not negotiable for something like that. If I'm familiar with that issue, which I am, and I have been finding out other people do have that kind of issue too, I'll tell them what has worked for me, and then if they have tried something else, then I get to learn something from them. But imagine if I said, well, try working here for 12 years like I have, or wait until you reach my age or my time working on your feet, shit like that. I just don't see the productivity behind it, and that's why I hate certain responses. I just ignore them. I just dismiss them. I'm like, well, I told you what I'm going through. I told you how it is. It's over. Another thing I have heard is when somebody has made it to a doctor because they needed to get work done. Like, well, wait until you get shoulder surgery. Wait until you get hip replacement surgery. Wait until you get knee surgery. Wait until surgery, until you go through this, until you go through that. Or, well, try getting in a wreck and having whatever disc sliding off, whatever part of your spine it is, slipped discs, all of that. I'm like, well, if I didn't know you better, I would almost believe that you're suggesting that something like that happens to me so that I can join you in your misery, so that we can be equals. Like, I'm an accident survivor, I am a surgery survivor as well, and here, how the fuck are you dealing with it? Like, let me see if my surgery was worse than yours. Or since you're a little older, I'm guessing your recovery time is gonna be worse than mine. Anything competitive like that. Not only are we competing in the job to move up positions, not only are we competing for mates. That's why I talked a long time ago about how I hate competition, and how it doesn't matter how good you are, how competitive you are, it's killing your soul, that type of thing. When I hear that type of thing, it's like, I mean, damn it, we compete even down to how we tell our stories, how we express our feelings. I'm feeling more lonely than you. I'm feeling more depressed than you. I'm more stressed than you because A, B, C, and D. I'm like, well, if you want to be like that, let me tell you about what it's like to be me. What it's like to be someone who is not married, someone who was abandoned by her daddy, someone who never had a strong financial backing. In other words, growing up fucking poor, being exploited academically to the point that I burned the fuck out, and therefore I didn't have my mental issues addressed that I guess I didn't know I had, and that hindered me from pursuing other things because I live in constant stress. I live feeling insecure. My self esteem has been low, and Do I need to keep going? Because I have thought about this for years and I can elaborate on it. Probably better than you could elaborate on your own fucking problems. But I'm not doing that. Imagine if I did. You would stand no chance. Ultimately, this one deserves its own separate video, but I'm just gonna mention it, which is you express something, you share something, you just deal with it. You just gotta deal with it. Just deal with it. Go through it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. How? How do you deal with it? What is the proper way to deal with it? What does it mean to deal with it? When do I get to deal with it? Where do I go to deal with it? How much can I spend to deal with it? When is it the best time to take from work or something, take off from work and deal with it? How can I find the person to deal with it? When do I get to confront the person to deal with it? When can I take the supplement to deal with it? What the fuck does it mean to deal with it? Stop saying deal with it and be more definitive with what you're saying, as opposed to telling a person, well, if you're having trouble at home with your partner, deal with it. Be like, well, you have to get that addressed, and the way you do it is by going to therapy, converse with your partner, take a space, take a gap, take a break, separate, whatever the fuck. Give it definition as opposed to deal with it. And I know that dealing with it, it's an individual quest that everybody has to define for themselves. But that's what I'm saying. Define what that quest may look like, as opposed to leaving it as an empty deal with it. Oh, you have a cold? Deal with it. You got in a wreck? Deal with it. You're having trouble at work? Deal with it. You're experiencing depression, loneliness? Deal with it. How about if you just say, well, for instances when you're feeling depressed, remember the things that bring you joy. What do you like to do for recreation? Maybe you need to take time off. Maybe you need to experience something new. How about if I give you a couple of dollars? Would that help? If I give you like $20, would that help you try a new meal? Anything like that to bring you short term relief, but at least it's something. Imagine if I just said, oh, okay, deal with it. I believe that other option is better than just saying, deal with it. So, anyways, you guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm just too extreme. Maybe I'm just too sensitive. Or maybe this is just something that people are just so aloof and so self absorbed, so lost in their own shit that you start becoming a zombie. And these things that I just bitched about are the symptom, they're the manifestation of those things. I just know that I'm never gonna change. And I say these things because I'm able to say this, for I have had role models who behave this way. This is what they exuded. But now I'm living in a time where those things I am no longer witnessing, but I am experiencing the consequence of it. And I don't want to continue to experience the consequence of it. So I'm sharing what it is that nullified that experience back in the good old days. And that was people being involved, invested, and actually offering support solutions that were executable. They got to know you, they examined you, they understood you, they had sympathy, empathy, care, concern, etc. But now it's all dismissal, nothing but lacking involvement. It's deal with it, or wait until you get this age, wait until blah blah blah. I never heard any of that shit. So predominantly back in the good old days when I had other kinds of authoritative figures. The authoritative figures from before dealt with this way better than those figures I see nowadays. And I am part of those figures now because, as an adult, of course, I am now part of that society. I no longer get to just find safety, refuge in the fact that, well, I'm young, I'm a kid, and therefore I need protection. Like, no, I'm entering the stage in life in which I have more of a leadership role. I am no longer someone who's to be protected. I'm supposed to be taking now the protector role. I'm just saying it sucks. So I just want to see if I'm just tripping or if any of that is based, is founded. Okay, that's it. Bye.